Welcome to the desk. It's a special day right here, more so that the president just left the National Assembly. Everyone's ear is on ground to know what actually transpired there. Apart from the fact that on your mandate, we stand song was sung, at least indirectly, there was a plea to return back the security of the people at the National Assembly. You know the people that I'm talking about, those complaining that their security aids were withdrawn. That's, by the way, we'll actually look at the budget itself, what actually transpired there. Just a pinch on it. The full detail will be coming on your way much later on Global Television. Welcome to the desk once again. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course I have two gentlemen joining me on the conversation today. But then what do you think we would be talking about here today? Apart from talking about the president's visit to the National Assembly, of course, the budget presentation, we'll look at what is happening. There was a caucus meeting held at Aso Villa. But one surprising thing is the fact that some persons from the opposition party attended. Okay, even though they said it was a caucus meeting put together by the APC administration. That's not everything that we'll be talking about this evening. We will also look at the statement coming from Siminalayi Fubara, of course, who said, well, was I even a PDP member? Have I been a PDP member? After all, when I was in trial and tribulation, they were not there for me. That took me to the Bible. When I was in pain, when I was in the hospital, you never visited me. That took my mind there. He already defected, but then, is that the right statement to make, or is that a reason for someone to defect to an opposition party, someone who actually know the reason why it's in the People's Democratic Party? That's, by the way, do we have other things that we want to talk about on the decks today? Yes, of course. So many other things are happening. The issue of paying $5 million for secondary school children, the resignation of Farouk, and of course, him saying, well, I'm ready. Whatever I want to happen, I can defend whatever Aliko Dangote have said. We're also going to talk about that and a couple of other things on the program today. But then I won't be able to outline everything. Let me not say it, then we're not able to touch everything because of our time. But then we will be as sharp as possible so that we can touch some of the major stories today for you on the program. Right now, we will go on a quick break. After this break, when we return, Usoro and of course Ben will be joining me on the program as we look into these headlines. Stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
as always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Agbo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Even a joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as...
The numerous committee about more than 12 communities.
Festify is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
World leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria. I'm
to
a guest.
Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Talk Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists. Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
Welcome back. Let's quickly look at the budget that was presented to the National Assembly a few minutes ago by the President. Joining me on the conversation right in the studio here is Ubong Usoro. It's good to have you join us on the desk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rams. It's always a pleasure to be on your program.
And of course, Ben Essen will also be joining us. He will be joining the desk online, and we will bring him in any moment from now. But let me get started from Ubong Usoro. As it is right now, the President has presented the 2026 budget, and the budget is 58.47 trillion naira to the National Assembly right now. What do you think? Well, security was topping. Most times, a lot of people said if it comes to security, it's always high. All right, security was topping with other sectors, other things too. But then, what do you think of 58.47 trillion naira budget for 2026?
Yeah, I think it's largely very realistic when you look at indices surrounding it. And we have a budget estimate of 58.47 trillion. And the President talked about the fact that the 2025 budget, we're able to accomplish over 70% as to the things that were included in that particular budget. All right, and the budget is placed on a benchmark of 1,400 naira to 1,500 exchange rates to a dollar. And you know 60% of our budget is funded by oil sales, and we are placing crude oil sales at about $60 to $65 for a barrel. So it's very realistic, I think, because gone are the days when we used to do $80 a barrel, right? Because we've seen the global oil fluctuations over time, and it affects the way countries do business. And Nigeria is at this time taking critical steps to say, let us be fiscal responsible. And one of the things that I've talked about, the President has talked about in the final analysis, has been issues of all non-oil revenue. So we are looking at 38 point something billion will be funded by oil revenue, right? And the other remaining 20 something will be funded by non-oil revenue. And one of the sectors has been taxes, Of course, we've known that this year, by September, FIRS, that's the Federal Inland Revenue Service, declared their tax expectation for the year. So they had a tax mandate to say, okay, if we can get to this amount, we've done well this year. But by September, they already got to that amount. And that was very fantastic. We saw customs also declare profits that they've not declared before. That was also very fantastic for the economy. We also saw JAM, actually come out to declare profits that they've not made before. So the budget has about the federal government is going to be taking about 34.33 trillion out of the money. That's for federal government spending. So we'll talk about debt servicing from the federal government. We'll talk about salaries payment from that amount. And we'll talk about the states will be sharing about 16.3 trillion naira. So all of the states in Nigeria, the budget is estimated that in 2026, the states will get about 16.3 trillion naira, while the federal government will get 34.33 trillion. And this money from federal government will go into capital projects, infrastructure, overheads. And I think at this point, I'll just pause and mention something. The other day, just yesterday when I was on Business Points, and one of the things I saw very glaringly on the headline was that Nigeria spent 64% of this year's revenue. It was spent on debt servicing and salary payments, and it is not very sustainable, right? Because if in a year all that we are able to do is spend 70%, let's say at that, to pay salaries, to pay debts, then what we have is a very linear margin. Just about 30% to put into capital expenditure and infrastructure. And we know what grows economy primarily is not debt servicing. What grows an economy? Yes, salaries will grow, the development indices, because people can get houses, but there are infrastructural structures that must be put in place, and paying salaries alone may just keep leveraging people at a point, because most of the people that we pay salaries to may not have the money to put it into big time businesses that will employ other people, so they keep being dependent on government. And we must look for ways to come out of that particular trap that we've seen Nigeria go into now. But there's something I want to also mention now. This particular budget is capturing 11.8 trillion for local governments. So look at the gap. States are getting for the year, the projection for 2026, states are getting 16.3 trillion naira, and local governments are getting 11.84 trillion. Just 4 trillion difference between what is separating the states
from the local
the 36 states and the 774 local governments. I think Nigerians should start thinking now as to where the direction that we should be going, because what we expect to see with this is that in 2026 local government should be able to tar roads. Yes, because they are getting this money.
And remember, the president today was emphatic about direct allocation to the local government.
The government should be able to tar roads.
The government
They are getting 11 point something trillion. States are getting 16 trillion. The federal government are getting 32. There's little or nothing states can do that local government cannot do at this point. All right, so local government chairman must be held accountable. All right, and I think that is one of the things I've seen in this budget. I'll also go ahead to also keep mentioning some of the other things that I noted down as to independent revenue. The government is looking at that component to come from 4.9 trillion of the budget. Those are monies that will come from agencies. I mentioned JAM, mentioned all of the other the customs, immigration. About 4.9 trillion should be funded from the visa fees that people pay. Government is also looking at tax revenue, corporate tax, VAT that they've gotten. They're also looking at oil and gas. That takes about 60% of the budget estimation as to funding. They're also looking at independent revenues like fines, dividends, and fees. Government do business with bonds and all of that, right? Shares. And some people don't even know government have shares that they buy, and sometimes those shares mature, and the government is able to get some dividends out of it. But there's a sector that the government is looking at for 16% of funding this budget, and I think for me this is a big departure from the normal, and that is the non-oil sector, right? This is the service sector, and we've seen Nigerian service sector grow. in the last 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Sectors like the banking sector of our economy, there's been significant growth in that particular sector. Nigerian banks now are seen all over Africa. There are Nigerian banks that if you go to the US, you see it. Nigerian bank purely owned by you. Yeah, you could say the investment is not purely Nigeria, but they started from Nigeria. Some of these banks started just from one branch in maybe Delta, Port Harcourt, wherever, and they are now international brands. So our service sector has expanded in the last few couple of years. We have the banking sector, the service sector. We have logistic business. I don't want to mention companies' name now, but as these things are coming, I'm having companies all off the top of my head that have done so well and have expanded. We have a fintech, a service sector that have done so well. All right, you know the popular fintechs that we use for transfers, and some of these fintechs now,
some of them are even doing better than the secular banks.
Yes, in terms of transfer, but the banks are doing better in terms of assets and management and wealth management.
It has to be like that.
Yes, right. So in terms of daily transfers and all of that, so these are service sectors that have grown. We have the entertainment sector as a service sector. It has grown of recent. Nigerian streaming industry has grown. Nigerian content creation has grown. So these are also sectors that the government are looking at in this 2026 budget and saying 16% of these budgets will be funded by the service sector. And for me, I think is great, right? Because this sector, a lot of these people don't even pay tax. A lot of these people in these sectors, they are not rewarding. They are making a lot of money, but they are not giving back to the government as much as it should. So the government saying 16% will be funded. So I'm looking at service sector, and I'm that right, non-oil revenue, right, and the other sectors, oil will fund, and it's not as it was some 6, 7, 8 years ago when oil was 80%, 90%. At the end of the day, whatever happens in the oil markets totally affects our crashes, our budget. Now, yes, oil, we are putting you benchmarking you at 60 to 65. If you get to 80, fine and good. We have a budget
but
surplus.
It's good to be on the safer side by putting it
there. We have budget surplus, but for now, let's play safe.
That's beautiful. I think that is very analytical, and of course that budget was just presented to the National Assembly a few minutes ago, and we felt we should do a little analysis of that. Thank you very much, Usoro, for that analysis and breakdown. One of the things that Nigerians are looking forward to, one of the thrilling thing in that budget is the amount stipulated for security, then how much is going to the local government. I think that is in a bid to make the local government autonomy. 11 trillion is so much, you know, and look at what 14 point something trillion for states. So the difference, the margin is not much. So as it is right now, I think Nigerians and civil society organizations should be putting in place is how to checkmate this spending. Because one of the problems that we have is the issue of spending. These people just come, they spend anyhow they want. Right. You hear that governors don't even stay in their states. What are they doing in the FCT when their state is there? Can't they build a government house where they can stay in their states? The amenities they are looking for here, can they get it here? If it is companionship they are looking for, can they export, you know, whatever it is? I'm just trying to be down to earth here. You understand? Whatever it is, your friends can travel to meet you in your paradise if it is paradise enough. So I think these are some of the things. I'm now speaking to civil society organizations, individuals, Nigerians, to know this. And since this is achievable, like you said, it's achievable. Look at the benchmark for oil where it's been placed, so that, see, so much, all right, wasn't placed there. So even if he hits 80, 85, 70, it is still something, but that 60 is very, very okay for me, and that is a better way to forecast, all right, when you are planning for the future. Well, all the same, everything put together, we're waiting for how this is going to happen. The budget has been presented. I know a lot of deliberations will still go on before the final passage and all of that. All right, now we'll go on a quick break. After this break, when we return, we'll look at other stories from the other big stories for the day. Stay with us.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi.
You know how we do it on Teacher Post Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
A joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festify is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Donald Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
All right, as it is right now, so many things going on. Let's look at the APC and, of course, the caucus meeting that was held. But before then, Ben Essen is on the line. It's good to have you join us, Ben Essen, a journalist joining us on the conversation this evening. Welcome to the program, Ben.
All right, thank you so much, Ramsey, for having me on the program.
All right, let's get started now. We just finished talking about the budget that was just being presented by the president to the National Assembly, 58.47 trillion naira budget to the National Assembly. We've already talked about that. Let's get to the next discussion now. As it is, let's look at APC caucus meeting that was held. APC caucus meeting. Tinubu assured Nigerians of state police becoming a reality very soon, and is part of the promise made to US and, of course, his European allies. What do you think about these promises? Because some persons are saying, well, the issue, we know there is insecurity problem, but there is one thing that a lot of people, some people are complaining about, and that's the issue of compromise and how much belief do Nigerians have in the people who are called police in Nigeria, and how is the policing like in Nigeria as it has to do with compromise, and as it's been alleged that they are not what they are supposed to be. And now we want to have it at the state level. When the federal, some people complain of so many things, but then the president has promised that, well, it's going to be something that is achievable.
Well, Ramsey, when you look at the issue of state police, it has been there for some time, and subsequently, perception is a very, very big tool that maybe when you look at it, the behavioral thought patterns of individuals, Nigerians, over 200 million Nigeria, you will shock for you to look at the possibility that when you discuss state police in a higher level, people will want to buy that idea. But when it has to do with the local area, people will tend to buy it, because when you look at how state police is, at the end of the day, there is this perception, or not even perception, premonition, that the governors or maybe the chief executive of these various states can hijack it and use it as a political tool. So these are the issues. Okay, let's look at, for example, when you see a minority or maybe a minor political party, a regional party in Nigeria wins an election, you will really see deeply how the chain of commands are really, whether they are enforced or not. For example, you remember when President Muhammadu Buhari was still alive, when he went to campaign in, I think in Anambra State, where the former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obaino, was able to whisper to the president that his police details were removed from him, so security details. So it took the tenacity of the president and commander-in-chief then to instruct the police authority to restore the security. So somehow people have this perception that state police, whether we are not really ripe for state police, but if you say we are not ripe, Amotekun, being a regional security outfit, is really doing well. But the major aspect is that it is the state governors that is controlling this apparatus. For example, when one of the governors, I can't really remember now, when he was coming for Abuja in a political meeting, then Amotekun was part of the security details. And you begin to ask yourself, these are taxpayers' money, but can we really believe that state police will really give us what we want? But I really think that if we want to do justice to this nation and country, we need state police, because if we are copying American style of democracy, we have county police, we have some of these police even in the university. So why won't we practice that? But maybe that is why the president has given the mandate of employing police officers. Maybe that is part of the reasons why the president felt that is what we need at this this particular time.
All right. One thing again is some people are saying the welfare of the Nigerian police, the federal Nigerian police, is not up to standard, as some persons are alleging rather, and of course their salary structure. Now, you talked about Amotekun right now from the eastern region or western region of the country. There is a governor there. Now, do you think every governor in Nigeria would be able to take care of the police if they eventually come to stay? Would they be able to take care of them and not influence them? Just like some people will tell you, well, the judicial officials are being appointed by the executive. What do you think if they are dancing to the tune of the music from the executive as it's been alleged? So don't you think there might be an interference in operation?
Obviously, there will be an interference, because you know that somehow when you see how these things are really happening, people will lose election and a new government will come in and will have to change the policies, and subsequently you just notice that people believe that the police needs to earn more, no doubt. Because if you compare the Nigerian police and that of the United States of America, for example, they are called Gold Star families. A policeman has uniform for lunch, uniform for breakfast, assorted shoes. But here in Nigeria, you look at a full dress Nigerian police, the kit is wearing, you don't understand. Even the insurance pay of the Nigerian police has to be increased. Their salary and welfare has to be increased. So when we look at the whole thing, we just believe that we need a bigger budget, and there should be a structure that even if the president, for example, finish his tenure, another president is coming in, they are going to use that same standard. We have seen some occasions where retired police officers have gone even to the National Assembly, I think 2-3 months ago, or less than 3 months, where they protested in respect of their pension. So how do you expect for someone to really say, after he has served maybe meritoriously, maybe 30 or 35 years, you just notice that for him to feed is becoming a big challenge? So I don't think that is a pathway for relief, peace and advancement if we want to move the human capital of the Nigerian police to a higher height.
All right, I'll come back to you, Ben, but let me talk to Usoro in the studio here. In one of the papers, it said the kicker was insecurity. Then it said Tinubu pledges state police to US and European allies.
Yeah, I think that this president is very clear as to the devolution of power and true federalism, because we've been talking about restructuring. In fact, there was a time restructuring was very much on the front burner, and we said to solve Nigeria's problem we need a restructuring. And we've seen that the president has, he's pushing restructuring. There's a constitutional review going on. They went to Lagos. I've been part of one of the meetings, and they will still have some meetings. I think they have a meeting on 23rd or so, still looking at how we can, restructure the country. I think the president is doing this restructuring, but he's doing it very intelligently. So that there are a lot of persons that are really upset about restructuring. So he's trying to also marry the political base, knowing that he has a second term to go to 4, and he doesn't really want to upset a lot of people again. He's already upset a lot of Nigerians with the fuel subsidy removal. A lot of people were angry with him, right? So, but I think that you could hear from him that he is interested in us having state police. And for me, I've always been of the opinion that we need state policing, because these are people that knows the terrain. These are people that are closer to the people. They know the language. They know the culture. It's better for them to police the people. If you are bringing somebody to police my house, maybe a policeman from Zamfara is being sent to somewhere in Akwa Ibom, to taking time to learn the language, to learn the people, to know the roads, the rural roads and all of that, right? So that's something. So, and we could talk about operational efficiency. If we have state police, you can talk to the state commissioner of police simply, and it's easier. But now everything has to come to Abuja. At least a lot of things has to come to Abuja, and there's these bureaucratic bottlenecks that files are sent, files are waiting at first CID. It is a rapid response squad, which of the squad. So a lot of things think around Abuja, and it should not be so. And if we have the state police, it will decongest the Nigerian police. There's a lot already going on. So the Nigerian police will now be more focused. Is it terrorism? They'll focus more on terrorism. That's the federal police. So state policing does not mean we'll not have federal police again. We'll have them.
Yeah, they'll be
focused. Yes, they'll focus on maybe cyber crime and interstate crimes that goes from one state to the other. Maybe we have a kidnapping ring that are kidnapping in different states. Federal police will be more equipped to focus on that kind of collaborative crime. But for states, let's allow the state. We've seen, like you mentioned, Amotekun being like a pilot in some way to regional governance and state policing. We've seen how they've operated, right? So I think they just need training. We need training to operate within the ambit of the law, and we need clear guidelines as to operation. And we have to trust ourselves, because we can't keep. I think there's a mistrust a lot because we don't trust our politicians, and it's not really the citizen problem. It's because the politicians have also, in a lot of ways, shown that they cannot be trusted, right?
All right, I think that's the major thing they've shown. Let me tell you, additional to what you just said, right. Let me ask Ben now, because ex-PDP members also attended the APC caucus meeting, and that speaks volumes. It was on one of the papers. All right, Ben, can you hear me right there?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Do you know that that meeting that was held at Aso Villa, 6 ex-PDP governors attended that APC caucus meeting? Now, physically, let me say, not physically, everything is physical anyway. PDP governors are defecting. Like Fubarajo says, he just defected. Mufwang of Plateau State defected, amongst many others that we know. And Fubara even said, well, the PDP was not there for him during his trial and his tribulation. And now we are having 6 ex-governors as attending APC caucus meeting. What message does that pass across to Nigerians?
Well, when you look at the political issues in Nigeria, you are always, there is no day you will not see a kind of headline. Because sometimes these governors who defected from their political party, the PDP, to the APC, I think they seem to look at the possibility, this perception that I want to get my ticket. If Bola Tinubu, for example, has shown interest in making sure he wants to contest 2027 elections, I will also want to be at a parley with him. Okay, let's say, for example, nothing tells you that if you are an opposition party, you cannot do well. Let's look at the issue of Alex Oti of Abia State. So if the president is an APC member and the president is giving you his location and is utilizing it very well, and if people are commending him, then you can still be in that your saturated space in another political party and do well. But people, there is perception that I might not get the next ticket, and that is why the issue of coalition is available, that you can just jump your ship and go to another political party. But if the system is thorough, in the sense that if you are on a particular political platform, then you decamp to another political party, you have to go back to the queue and contest and join, sell your manifesto again, and think of how you can win an election, because you are taking the people's mandate. I really think that what these governors who are decamping, it may be similar things on what happened in 2015, like the likes of Kano State Governor then Kwankwaso who decamp, you understand me, and some other governors two ACN governors like the likes of Adams Oshomole, the likes of Rocha Sokorota, who came into the APC. That is exactly what is playing out now. Because if this continues consistently, it's obvious that after 2027, INEC might likely want to register another political association, because the same group of individuals will now leave the political party, for example the APC, to form another political party. So this is what we think we should be discouraged. But let them continue in the APC, since APC is now their new home. They have access to the president now, and let's see what is going to happen in the coming weeks or before the elections.
All right, Usoro, Fubara said he has no regrets. According to what Fubara said, he said, no regrets leaving PDP. Party abandoned me during trial and tribulation. What do you make of that statement?
All right, so the PDP has come out through its spokesperson, Inyeme Obong, to be very clear as to the position of the party at that time. But I think, without being sentimental, the party did not do enough to support Similaye Fubara
during the state of emergency declaration.
Even before then.
During the crisis, generally.
During the crisis, they were.
He called it trials and temptation.
Yes, it was, because he nearly lost his seat. He would have been impeached if not for Mr. President. That's why when people are saying it was President that suspended him, and I just always look at this people and say, you don't understand what the President, he intervened.
No, the President is a very wise politician.
He intervened, because if he allowed, he would have been suspended. Right, impeached rather,
and that would have been
the end of even his political career. Right, so the president scolded him and saved him from that rancor and everything. Still come back, make peace. He gave him a leadway. Now, if he wants to complete his tenure, it's up to him. If he wants to go for second term, it's up for negotiation. Politics is about negotiation. If you can negotiate right, you can get whatever you want, get the right people. Right, so you see Similaye Fubara attended, Peter Mba attended from Enugu, Sheriff, former Delta, Diri from Bayelsa, Omoino, and Abdul Kefas, who is a recent defectee from Taraba State. It just shows how the PDP has become very weakened. Over 5 governors have defected in a space of 6 months. It is very shameful to our democracy that it shows our systems are weak, that people, like he mentioned, people can just wake up in the morning and say, I'm no longer a party, I'm no longer a member of the PDP again. It should not be so, because you get the mandate of the people. We are not running independent candidature. In fact, there are many persons who got into the house because people voted a political party. For instance, let's use Labour Party. One of the places I covered the 2020 election, it was a massive vote for Labour Party. When people come, they just look for Labour, they vote, they give them 3, maybe a presidency, Senate, and House of Representatives. All they do is vote Labour Party, right? So they don't even know who is the Senate candidate.
They're just voting the party.
So a lot of people vote the party. It is, for me, I think it is being clever by her, because you are going with a mandate of a party. People contribute. Have you seen election funded before? Party members contribute resources to fund you, and you are living with all of those. I think it is not considerate to the people of the party, and it's because we allow our systems to be weak.
All right, it's because we allow our system to be weak, and that's the reason why we had all of that. Let's talk about this now. Ahmed Defense Finance welcome probe of children education funding. He said, well, he resigned. That was the first thing, Ahmed Farouk. That was the first thing he did. He resigned, and now he said, well, he is ready to defend whatever it is. Do you think with all of this, from all ramification now, Ben, can you hear me, Ben?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, let's get into the conversation again. Ahmed, all right, said he will defend his finances, how he got his money, because the problem now is sponsoring children in foreign secondary school at the tune of $5 million. All right, right?
Yeah, absolutely. $5 million.
And he said he's going to defend it. But then, in the first place, do you see all this fight? Is it necessary?
Well, Ramsey, you know how these things work, and sometimes for you to really do business to some extent, there are some aspects that you either step on toes, or people will have to, the regulatory agency will ask you to come up to date. For example, you know, the issues between Farouk and Dangote has been there for some time. We saw when he gave a press statement, trying to say that the Dangote's fuel was not of quality, if you remember that particular time. But we know in this same country, there was a time when imported fuel was brought into this country, and so some vehicles were engines got knocked, and the administration then said those people will be compensated. How did those adulterated fuel came into the country? Must we continue to be importing petroleum products in Nigeria? What is the status of our Nigerian refinery? If there are issues, the likes of Dangote should sit down with these regulators to see how these things can be solved. But you know that in the Nigerian space, you are either trying to, you rub my back, I rub your back. But if what Farouk is saying that is ready to defend, the oil sector has become an environment that sometimes you didn't even go to work, people will just come to say, I'm coming to greet you in festive period of any time. Let's take the life one of the former group managing director of the NNPC, Andrew Yakubu, if you remember, where some funds were traced to his house in Kaduna. What did he say? That it was given to him his money, it was a gift. So how do you explain a situation where somebody build a house and put currency there and try to put an AC to be cooling the money? This is not what we should be discussing. The subject of development should be discussed in such a way. You don't fight people because of their personality. But if Dangote is saying that, that means his source could be from the grapevine. You understand me? But I'm sure that this fight should not be dirty, because if it is dirty, you know that the union or the top players in that particular industry might likely say they might be frustrating the effort. I will also congratulate him. It's rare for a Nigerian to say he's resigning from a job, and I will say thumbs up to Farouk, because it is something that I will say he has tried and he wants to clear his name, and if he clear his name, it's going to be a plus to his family and his constituency where he works.
All right, because of our time now, let me take you to the issue of Electoral Act. You talked about a lot of reforms going on and all of that, Usoro. As it is right now, reps are backing 2-year jail term and 5 million naira fine for both buyers and sellers. This morning on the program, I said, well, I told you, I said, the area that interests me more is the seller and buyer. That has entered our, because if there's no seller, there won't be buyer.
And if there's no buyer, there will be
and if there's no buyer, there won't be seller. So as it is right now, the two of them are in the track. But now let's look at it holistically as a matter of fact. The sellers, you know who they are, all right? The buyers, we know who they are. But don't you, what is the possibility? Because sometimes it's easier said than done. The people who are doing this selling, all right, can they really be made to face this law? I don't know. What do you think about what the state house is passing across right now?
I think that for me, when you say vote buying, it's not about making the laws. That's a very good law, right? We have it, but will it be implemented? Already we have laws against electoral violations here and there. How many persons after elections are convicted? Just very few. Just maybe 2-3 persons in the whole
that
Nigeria,
luck ran out of.
In the whole Nigeria, that we know that election irregularities have covered elections at least for the past more than 10 years now. Election irregularities that I've seen myself. It's glaring now, it's everywhere. But how many persons are prosecuted at the end of the day? In fact, some of these things are done where we have the police looking at it and looking. So it's not just about having laws. We have the political will to go against it. But I think it's a great thing because election manipulation in Nigeria is why our politicians sometimes act rascally. Because if you know that you were not voted by the people, that you bought your way, you can give the people whatever you want to give them. After all, you didn't come here by their votes. But when you know you subjected yourself to examination by your people, you subjected yourself to campaign rigors, and you have your mandate of your people, and that mandate may be taken from you if you don't act in the best interest of the office, right? You want to sit right. So I think that's that. But let me just say a thing on the Farouk thing before we end. For me, I think that even if Farouk has the funds to send his children, that amount of money in a country where poverty is very prevalent shows insensitivity. I'm not even arguing, because saying I'm ready to defend yourself, the burden of proof lies on the accuser. It is not your place at this moment. There's no, but I'm talking about it, looking at it from a country where we are, where there's so much poverty, $5 billion naira, $5 billion, you know,
all right.
In secondary school.
All right, $5 billion in secondary school. Well, this is going to be the size of the conversation because of our time. Thank you very much, Ubong Usoro, for joining us. Thank you very much, Bernard Essen, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ramsey, for having me on the show.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye for now. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a beautiful day.